So thank you for joining me today. I'm so happy that you decided to check out some of the free information that I have to give you. I promise I won't take much of your time, but I do think this is very critical information that will help you. There was a student organization called the Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard that went as far as the Supreme Court. As a result, Harvard had to reveal how it actually ranked 160,000 applicants. I'm going to share this information with you now so you can understand how do admissions committees think. So if you're ready, let's get started. There are two reactions when I give this presentation, okay? One is their faces completely fall and they feel as if they're never going to get into any school that they want to get into. And the second is, oh my God, why hasn't anybody told me this? Did you know there are 29 schools in the United States right now accepting less than 10% of kids? I think that the best thing you can do is be armed with the information, right? Whether or not you choose to use it is up to you to decide. Let's make sure you know everything that you need to know to do the best that you possibly can, right? So there's one large theme here, and that is that overall, colleges, very good colleges, demand specialists. And that's what they look for. They want you to be the best in whatever it is that you choose to be the best at. That's up to you. So Harvard actually assesses its students on 4 criteria. 1 is academics, 2 is extracurricular, 3 is personal, and 4 is athletic. For each of these 4 dimensions, Harvard gives you a rating of 1 to 6, with 1 being the best and 6 being the worst. In general, if you get a 1, your chances of getting accepted are 50 to 70%, okay? However, the trick is that less than 1% of children get 1s, okay? And that is because 1 represents the absolute outstanding best that somebody could possibly be, okay? If you get a 2, which is a lot more common, you still have a 20 to 40% chance of getting accepted, right? But as you'll now see in the numbers, most people get 3s and they still get accepted. But if you're a 3, you get accepted at the 3% rate, right? And so what is the trick here? We need to be a 1. So let's take a look at this slide that tells us about how they actually looked at the academic portion for 160,000 students between 2014 and 2019. Remember, these are real students that have actually been ranked. Only 0.5% of people got a 1. So you're wondering, how is that possible? Well, Harvard actually had 42,000 applicants in 2020. So 8,000 of them got perfect scores, right? That means every grade from 9 to 12 was absolutely perfect. Okay, they also have 3,500 people who got a perfect on their math SATs. They have 500 plus people who got 36s on their ACTs. So grades is just something that's expected, and too many kids have it. Now, if you have 8,000 children with perfect grades, how do you decide who's a 1 out of that, right? The trick here is about being truly outstanding in that particular category. So 1 here would mean something like you have published a research paper with a professor and it has gone on some well-known publication such as the American Journal of Psychiatry, right? Or it could mean that, for example, there's a competition for the Science Olympiad, okay? 48 countries participate in it, millions of students take part. If you get into the top 10 of that, can you understand why that makes you 0.5% of the people who apply to Harvard, right? So to be best, you really, really have to excel exceptionally. What does that mean? There are 40% of children who get a 2 in the academics, and there are 40% of people who get a 3 in the academics. So as you can see, most children are falling between 2 and 3. So let's start with your extracurriculars, okay? Out of 160,000 students, only 425 got a 1 for their extracurriculars, right? But 72% got a 3, right? So as you can see, most people are falling in that 3. And this is not people who are, just joining a club. These still might be your editors of your newspapers, your captain of your teams. A 1 means something like a nationally or an internationally recognized award. So there was a student of mine who applied for the Diana Award, which is an award given by the UK in honor of the late Princess Diana. There are applicants from 50 plus countries, and she did not get it. But had she gotten it, that would definitely put her in a one for this, okay? There are also cases where you might get published for your extracurricular in terms of, let's say you are in rowing, okay? You won't come under the athletic status because those are more for recruited athletes. But if you become nationally known under the rowing category, this is somewhere where your extracurricular can rank as a one, okay? Okay, so let's go to the personal qualities, okay? Only 37 out of 160,000 students got ranked as a one. That's just laughable, okay? So don't try to get a one in your personal characteristics, no matter how amazing you are, right? Generally, a one means somebody who has gone through personal hardship that is unmatched. So somebody whose house got destroyed in Gaza, right? Somebody who was part of Africa and the majority of their community was poor and impoverished, and somehow they broke out of that and were able to get an application that makes them worthy of an Ivy League, right? Those are the students that come in this 37 number. Very, very hard to do. Again, 80% of children are getting a three. That means that you have your humor, your grit, your determination, or whatever qualities that might describe you. But as per Harvard, this is kind of putting you in the average bucket for the kinds of children that apply, okay? So let's take it to what does this mean, okay? Let me summarize it for you. So if you look at my little bell curve here, right? On the right-hand side, this is a one for you. And 90% acceptance rate here, right? To get a one. But the problem is less than 1% of children get a one. What does it mean? Truly exceptional, truly passionate, uncommon, memorable. All the words you're going to hear me say again and again and again in the strategy section of this course, right? If you're in the middle, which is where most of us are, right? At a three, you are back to being in competition with 37,000 people in that particular year, and the acceptance rate goes down to less than 3%, right? What you really want to do is perhaps being a one is very out of reach. It is for most. So you need to just move yourself as close to the one as you possibly can. That is the point of this course. Whether or not you can become a one is not the point. Let's try to push ourselves closer so that our acceptance rate is not at 3%, maybe is not at 90%, but falls somewhere in between.